All right. Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to Alternative Discussion West. This is your host, Ryan Banks, and we have landed episode 15 here today. I want to welcome my guest. You guys know him from Dorothy Lane. Today we have Mr. Lorin Holmen. What's going on, Lorin?
What's up, Ryan? Thanks for having me.
Right on, man. Thank you very much for coming. Known you probably the last 10 years. We were just kind of chatting before this, kind of have a connection back to hanging out in Oakland and watching the Drowsy Holler play. Friends with your brother and hanging out with all those guys. So we've known each other about 10 years, but where does it all start for you? You're born in Oakland?
I was actually born in Walnut Creek at Kaiser.
Okay, the old Kaiser on Walnut Creek.
Yeah, exactly. So my parents had Kaiser insurance through whatever union my dad was in at that time. That's where I was born.
And where does it start from there? You guys are living in Walnut Creek, or?
No, we were living somewhere between like San Ramon and Hayward.
Just kind of all over the place.
Yeah, we moved around a little bit back in the day.
A little bit of gypsies.
Yeah, exactly, man. That's a nice way to put it.
So, yeah, exactly. We have good terms, for some hard times when it is.
Yeah, boy.
So you grow up in the area though, in the Bay Area, and you said early on you're playing music.
5 years old. That was probably, that was like when I first
musical
picked up
family.
Guitar. Both parents play guitar and sing.
Wow.
Grandmother, she was like a jazz singer back in the day.
What kind of music's on in the house when you're young? What's something you remember? I remember hearing like Bob Dylan really young and Fleetwood Mac and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally. Like Salt and Peppa.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like Kid and Play, Houdini. NWA, that was like pretty much what was going on.
Really? And it was in the house every day.
I had a lot of older cousins and young aunts and uncles. So they were kind of not far away from each other in age, like the cousins and the uncles.
They had their finger on the pulse of what was going on, you could say.
Oh yeah, it was like totally 80s.
Like Madonna, NWA.
Yeah, like, the lace gloves and big hair, bullet belts.
They had the look and everything.
Skateboards.
Was there local music?
Huey Lewis, that was pretty local.
Eddie Monies.
yeah, stuff like that. The old rap stuff.
Sure, a lot of the Oakland rap was around.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you end up playing the guitar, and that's 5 years old. You get the guitar, and you just kind of start learning scales or songs or anything, or just strumming.
My dad just taught me a super simple blues lick, and I just kind of went from there. I think I played that blues lick for probably 7 or 8 years before I learned something
anything else.
Yeah,
a chord.
Exactly. Look, I can play guitar for, it was like everybody plays, Smoke on the Water, something like that.
Iron Man.
The blues were my version of Smoke on the Water.
So you had that guitar, and then so you grow up kind of all over the area, and then you end up moving to Oregon at about what age?
10 years old, moved to Oregon, and we went from living in the hood in East, we lived in kind of the El Cerrito Richmond border. That was the last place we lived.
A tough neighborhood.
Richmond School District was going bankrupt at the time. And so going to school in Richmond was not
And this is 1990.
Yeah, exactly. 89, 90, right in that time. And so we went from there to living in the backwoods of Oregon. Very
big change.
Yeah. Logging community. Dairy farmers.
So industry in town.
Yeah, chewing
everyone
tobacco.
works at the either the farm or the logging company.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Chewing tobacco. First time you'd ever seen anyone chew tobacco was out there in Oregon.
Straight up.
Yeah. That became a common thing. Yeah. So then your folks move out there for work?
My dad ended up getting a gig doing he got a caretaking gig on 150 acres of property. And so we moved out onto this farm, and my dad took care of it. The owner hardly ever came around, so we just had 150 acres of property run around on. It's pretty. Must
have been really cool, being that age. A big change from inner city to hundreds of acres. The never-ending forest.
Yeah, and our property actually backed up to some national forest, so it was just never-ending. But yeah, it was cool for learning how to get by in the woods and what you could eat, what you couldn't eat, and
Sure,
how to survive.
yeah.
I mean,
Survival skills.
yeah, I mean, I would read survival books and learn how to, do all that type of stuff like as a kid.
Becoming a woodsman.
Yeah,
as you're
exactly.
doing that.
Yeah.
So then you're also going to school out there, and so you end up going to junior high and high school in Oregon?
Yeah, exactly. Junior high and high school, with a couple little stints in the Bay Area. Like, wasn't working out very well up in Oregon, so I'd come to the Bay Area for a little while. And then it wouldn't work out very well here either, and then move back. So
sometimes your problems follow you wherever you go.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it wasn't so much my problem because I was just a kid,
Sure.
but it was like, parental issues going on where...
A lot of moving around, though.
Absolutely, yeah.
And back and forth from Oregon. And this was where at in Oregon?
This is in a very small area called Coos County. So it's east of Coos Bay, which is on the coast. East of there, about 30 miles up in the mountains.
So
yeah.
coastal area, though.
Yeah, coastal range mountains.
And that's in Myrtle Point?
Yeah, Myrtle Point was where we lived. I was looking at a Bobby Joey Bola. There's some like old homies of ours too, but Bobby Joey Bola actually went on tour and played in Myrtle Point at the little local bar there.
Probably the only punk band that ever came through to Myrtle Point.
The second punk band, because we were the first one, like when we were in high school. But
so you started a band in high school.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the Selective?
The Selectives.
The Selectives, okay.
Yeah.
And that starts, you're playing guitar.
Yeah.
So by that point, you've got an electric guitar.
Yes.
You got some friends that seem to have common interests.
Yeah, I made a buddy, and I kind of followed along with him. He had an old tape and had some Black Flag, and it had some really old, like the first two records of Green Day.
Okay.
Bad
The
Religion.
Lookout records.
Yeah, it was like some Lookout stuff and it was just like, hey kids, somebody gave him a tape like, hey kid, you should know what punk rock is, and just gave it to him. It was just a cool little mixtape. I remember it had like paint pen drawn on it and all that.
And that was exposure for both you guys to some
Yeah.
of those
Yeah.
classic albums now.
And I mean, we had no idea what we were listening to. We were like pumping iron like in the gym during PE with like the Green Day tape or the Black Flag or whatever it was, like, on that mix, like listening to that stuff.
Not even sure that you're going to be listening to it 30 years later. You're
No,
still
exactly.
enjoying it. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Incredible exposure there. So you guys, what kind of music are you guys as the Selectives? Are you guys playing basic, just, 4-chord punk, Green Day-esque, or?
Yeah, exactly. Like we were super into the Lookout Records stuff and like early Fat and Lookout stuff, like
Mr. T.
Some of that.
Maybe
more,
too pop either.
Well, yeah, that was. I mean, we started listening to Mr. T also, but a lot of it was like Screeching Weasel, Riverdale's, and Green Day, the Queers, stuff like that. So a little more like 77. The Crumbs were like a big influence, like, and then anything Bay Area related. So I was from the Bay Area, so we would go any like. Spring break, summer vacation, whatever. Come to town, rip all the flyers off the telephone poles in Berkeley, go to Gilman as many times as we could afford, and then go back and hang all those posters up on our walls. And
that was the wall art. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's at like 13, 14, 15 years old.
Yeah, straight up. I mean, that was like the highlight of our year, was making trips, making our pilgrimages. We started hitchhiking eventually just to get down here. Yeah.
Oh, when you would come back and visit the Bay Area, where were you staying?
My grandma lived on Carlson Boulevard in El Cerrito.
Okay.
Do you know where the Metallica house is on Carlson?
No.
So she lived like 4 doors down from Metallica.
So you had big history there too.
Yeah, pretty funny.
There's a lot of excitement, coming back into the Bay.
Yeah.
So that band, you guys are playing shows as the Selectives, or just talent shows, or?
No, we played a pep rally one time.
You got everyone fired up.
Well, just because they knew we had a band, they didn't know what it sounded like. There wasn't like the internet or anything where you could like check a band out before you invite them. But they're like, "Oh, you have a band? Cool." And then we just, I don't even remember what we played, but just went full on. I just remember the principal looking straight at us, like glaring, like shaking his head, like, "Oh shit, what did we do?"
It was a 3-piece or 4-piece band?
It was a 3-piece, yeah.
Okay, and you were guitar and vocals on it.
Yeah, guitar and vocals.
You remember any of the writing points or any of the subject matter?
Yeah, I mean, it was all about like love songs and girls, and it was pretty much love songs and girls. Like, that was pretty much it.
High school love.
Yeah, high school love, teenage love. I mean, that was probably the name of one of our songs.
Yeah, it could have been the album. So there was a recording that kind of went around.
Yeah, we recorded a few times, and I forwarded you one.
Yeah,
I dropped a few songs on you. That's the last thing we did. So that was like the best thing that we did.
So you're in high school. I mean, where do you find a place to record? Is there somebody, someone's uncle or somebody you knew from town or?
Yeah. So one of my friends, one of our friends from school, he moved from LA. His dad was like like a Hollywood guy, and he wanted to have a studio in the woods. And so he just happened to move to Myrtle Point, Oregon to do that. I'm still friends with this guy actually. Anyways, his dad was like one of the directors for like Dukes of Hazzard or something like that. But anyways.
So he opens a studio.
So he opens up a studio and he's like, oh, hey, I'll record you guys for free. Come on out. We're just some little kids
no charge. Come on down.
Yeah, we did a 3-song demo and just like went out to their little hidden farm out in the middle of nowhere and recording in a barn. It's pretty rad.
That's super
like
awesome.
on really nice equipment too.
Do you know if he had any other guests ever come out there and record? Was there some projects that came through,
I can't, there's a band from San Francisco that came through called A&, and
okay.
it was kind of a punk, like kind of hippie punk, peace punk type, something like
and you
experimental.
remember them coming to town to record?
Yeah, I remember them coming to town, and then there would be just the local guys. There would be like a lot of like local grunge, weird alternative metal stuff.
So he was busy at that studio in the woods.
He did some stuff. Yeah. So that's where we recorded. We tried figuring out a 4-track, and we worked with that a little bit. But
and that was your first taste of recording music.
Yeah. We went into like the real deal studio, and for the first time as little kids, and recorded a 3-song demo, and it was like.
This is awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Ready to be the Beatles at that point.
We actually didn't have any songs when he offered to record us, like anything set in stone. So we spent like the next couple of weeks actually writing 3 songs.
Piecing them together,
so we
forming actual songs. Yeah, okay. That's how it happens sometimes,
Yeah.
They tell you can record, you got to have something to bring in.
But it's just like anywhere else. If you really love it, then you tap into some sort of network, whether it's
just
up
doors
there,
start to open as you get into this stuff.
We were playing weird punk rock music, and there weren't a lot of it wasn't like there was like a plethora of like punk rockers everywhere. So it'd be like the hippie dude and the blues guy and the stoner dudes, and, whoever you could get.
A couple burnouts and a couple little this and a little of that.
Exactly.
So outside of the pep rally, where else were you guys playing?
We would rent a little hall. It's not there anymore. I drove by there recently, but it was a little hall called the Heimer Building, and it was a community center in Myrtle Point. And a really nice lady, Jody Bosky, she would would rent it out to us for 1 hour, and I think it was like $6 an hour.
No way.
So she would rent it out to us for 1 hour, and then she would kind of wink and say, "It's not rented out for 4 hours before or 4 hours after." And here's the key,
And let you guys do what you were doing out
Yeah. She was like, you guys aren't getting fucked up. You guys aren't being jackasses. She didn't really know what we were doing,
She just knew there was going to be live music.
Yeah. We were pretty good kids. We were nothing,
You weren't causing too much trouble at that age.
We would smoke a little weed in the barn once in a while or something,
Get goofy.
Pick a couple buds off our dad's plants out in the woods or something, something like that.
So was there other bands playing these shows at the community center, or it was just you guys?
No, we would just have our band because there weren't any other
And
bands.
you'd invite everybody you knew? And
we'd make flyers and,
Really? So
try
you
to
promote the show? You're talking DIY to the max.
Straight up. And we'd put flyers at the grocery store and the general store and the hardware store and telephone poles. And we'd do the whole thing. And then also other high schools in the area too, because we knew.
And then the hippie and the blues guy would show up.
Yeah, like the tripper alternative kids from Coos Bay. Like there's more like that's more of a little more of an open-minded community, like Coos Bay right on the coast, because Highway 101 goes through there, and there's
kind of a cool community.
Yeah, there's some cool people that have come out of there and that are still there actually. Like just people that are into like food and gardening and culture,
music,
and art. Yeah,
something outside of the radio.
Yeah, not everybody sucks, and even the people you think would suck, some of them are even cool too. So
it wasn't just classic rock up there.
No, but it was like they had both kinds of music on the radio, like country and western, like that, whatever. I can't remember what.
All two kinds.
Yeah, it's like, we got all two kinds.
Well, it sounds like it was quite a time out there in Myrtle Point. So you end up
it was a blast. I wouldn't change it for anything.
Yeah.
There was a lot of bad times, but at the same time, it's like, here I am. So I survived it.
Sure. And then, so you end up going to high school out there. You didn't graduate though.
No, I dropped out. I was like, we're going to play music.
Life on the road.
I'm like 3/4 of the way through my senior year. Like, we're about to leave.
Stay for 10 more minutes. You get to graduate.
We're going to go on tour. Like, this is not going to matter.
So you drop out.
In the scheme of things. Yeah, drop out. Go on tour. Like, we start booking a tour, and we leave on tour. Our drummer's mom let us use a pickup truck. And she let us, I believe she let us swipe her Chevron card at the Chevron. Fill up the tank. And they also had a U-Haul at the Chevron. So we were able to rent
the trailer.
Yeah, a little trailer to hook up to the pickup.
And where was that first tour? Where'd you go? You had to come to the Bay, right?
We were on our way to the Bay, but we never made it there. That's the funny thing is we took off. I think we might have played Eugene, but I know that we made it to Portland.
So there was at least a couple shows played.
Oh, you know what? I think we went to Eugene and recorded those 3 songs that I gave you.
Okay.
And then drove to Portland and we played. We had a show booked with the Crumbs. And
so you're psyched.
Super stoked. Got to Portland. The Crumbs canceled. We got our other friends to jump on and play it. So the show still happened. Drummer called home and his mom said, "Hey, you haven't called home for 2 days. You better get your butt home now with my truck." And it was like, boom, tour's over.
Really?
Yeah.
That was kind of the end of the band too?
Yeah. I mean, it was like, oh shit, this is done. And, we've been doing it for 5 years all through, we were ready to get out of there. So the singer or the bass player and I were like, fuck it, dude, let's get out of here and go down to Sacramento or California or something. So
and go live out our dreams,
Yeah, exactly.
He
ended up in Sac and I ended up in the Bay.
So that was the last show you played with that drummer in the Selectives.
Yeah, that drummer
was in Portland.
That drummer is do you know the band Urban Wolves?
Yeah.
So there's this guy named Matt that plays drums in that band. He's the drummer from the Selectives. So
really?
Yeah, even crazier history. There you go. Drop some bombs.
Sacramento right there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Sacramento
Wolves.
homies.
Check them out. Yeah, friends of ours as well. Okay, so then that takes us, you're moving back to the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And you end up, this is 1996, 97?
This is like 99 and I'm running from problems. Like I really started drinking a lot and dabbling in drugs and dabbling in speed and whatever, just, whatever.
The party was starting to roll.
It was starting to roll. And I swore I would never end up like that because I lived through that as a kid, like watching relatives and stuff.
Go too far.
Yeah, big time. And I swore, I'm never going to end up like that. And then the second I got a taste of it,
you liked it.
It was on.
Okay. So
I forgot all about those promises.
Well, let's take our first break there. We're going to come back. You're back in California. You're in the Bay Area. Life in the fast lane. You're starting to party a little bit, and we're going to come back and talk about some of the bands you started here in the Bay Area. So we'll be right back with some more with Lorin.
Outside and wonder why she left you.
All right, we are back, and what you just heard was And You Cry by the Selectives from Myrtle Point, Oregon. So you wrote that song, you're saying, when you were about 15 years old, huh?
Yeah, just like a little kid, man. I don't know. I don't even know how it happened. We were just messing around, and then, yeah, it was like one of those lucky little weird songs that just popped out of nowhere.
Yeah, I love your voice in it, man.
It's hecka funny. Like, my voice has changed a little bit since then.
Can't quite get that high anymore, huh?
No, there's...
Don't even try.
I don't even think I probably hadn't even smoked one cigarette.
At that point, yeah.
I started about then, and I just finished about maybe a month ago. So
yeah.
It's coming back a little bit.
A couple of years. Well, it sounded great, and it's so cool that you have recordings from that long ago. Because a lot of the early stuff that I remember doing in high school, it's like I don't even know where it's at. I don't know who would have it. You know?
I mean that. It's funny that you say that because I mean that's how I found that like. There was a guy who was doing sound at a club in San Francisco, and it just so happened to be the engineer that recorded that song, like 10
way
or
back
15.
in Eugene, Oregon.
Yeah, exactly. He was working. I think he was working at the Elbow Room, and
you recognized him.
Like, hey, bro, you look kind of familiar, man. He's like, oh my God, I remember you.
And he still had the original tapes.
I was like, yeah, do you have those? He's like, oh man, probably in a box somewhere. And I wrote down my email, and sure enough, like a few weeks later, this surprise email came in. He's like, straight from tape, bro. Like,
that's awesome, dude. What a trip. Other than that, the songs were lost, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are people who have tapes out there. Like people have like messaged me on Facebook, like, oh, I still have your tape from back in the day, but like they were lost as far as I'm concerned. I didn't have it.
And that at the time you were going by the name Lorin Selective.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, so you've headed back to the Bay now. You dropped out of high school. You've got this idea that you're going to get into the Bay Area, play some music.
Yeah.
And so you're hanging out Telegraph Avenue.
Yeah, 1999.
And what's going on? I mean, what's the scene in Berkeley at that time?
I mean, it's
thriving, right? I mean, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of music.
Yeah, I mean, we were coming down like back and forth. We were seeing bands like Bobby Joey Bola and the Children McNuggets, Screw 32, Goodfellas.
And this is just at Gilman, or this is all over now?
Yeah, this is like Gilman Street. I'm not sure when Berkeley Square closed down, but somewhere like around that time they closed down. I remember.
And you had went to shows at Berkeley Square?
Yeah, it was like one of the we could hang out outside and like kind of sweet talk the door guy, and he'd be like, "Okay, you motherfuckers, get in there." Like if we didn't have any money, you could kind of hang out and be nice, and it would be like. I mean, I probably know the person now, but back then I didn't. It was, somebody who was 5 years older than you back then.
Yeah,
was out of your league.
There's no chance you're going to know these people.
You're not going to know them. Yeah,
they were a little more dug in. So then, hanging out around Telegraph Avenue, you meet some folks and form the band Human Overalls.
Yeah. So there was a tattoo artist and a piercer from Zebra, my friend Will and my friend Tim, and we were talking, and we just ended up forming this band with a buddy of ours, Greg, and then. We were playing some kind of experimental, psychedelic, indie rock kind of garage. I mean, it was like there was a really wide variety of what we were doing.
But you're picking up the guitar and singing again.
Yeah, exactly.
You're writing the songs or structuring them at least.
Yeah, exactly. Like I would come with an idea, and then as a band, we would take it. Like I'm writing this pretty much like a pop punk song, and then. They would be okay. We're going to slow it way down, and
put some psychedelia.
I mean, but it was something that no one had ever done, which was cool. I mean, I wish I could find those. I'm sure they're around somewhere. There's something somewhere.
There was recordings.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I can email it to you.
We can dig them up. I'm sure if the listeners want to find it, they can dig. But that band changed names to Collateral.
Yeah,
and that's what people would remember it as more.
Yeah, exactly. So Will ended up. Moving to LA, and then we got our buddy Danny, who used to play in the Mosconis, and he eventually went on to play in Drowsy Holler also.
Okay,
So Danny played drums in Collateral, and then we ran that for a while until.
And that was playing shows all over, and.
Yeah, well, mostly in the East Bay. I think we played.
What venues, or were you playing parties, or?
I forget the name. Talk of the Town. Did you ever go to Talk of the Town?
No.
So that opened up again. That was in East Oakland. I'm not sure exactly where. I know it was like along International, somewhere East 12th somewhere. Like I don't even remember. We'd have to ask.
But you were playing
Somebody. Yeah, Talk of the
just
Town.
local spots.
Yeah, there was a warehouse on 42nd and Linden where we practiced. We played shows there. We played like shows with like The Pattern, and the East Bay Rats would show up and like rip phone books in half and like
some wild stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
And that band did record.
Burnt Ramen. We played Burnt Ramen way back then. Yeah, that band did record a few times and different lineups and stuff. And then that led into, I started playing drums around that time too, and started a band called the Aversions.
Had you played drums before that, or you just decided to pick it up?
Just like fucking around playing drums, not real.
Yeah, the studio just didn't.
Like the drummer would go out for a smoke, and then you jump on his kit until he kicked you off of it type of drums. And then so that was the first time I actually sat down and tried to play. And a lot of us in that band were new to what we were doing also.
With your instruments.
Yeah, exactly. New to bands or whatever it was. So we all were kind of like in some sort of infancy at the same time. So it worked out.
Everyone grew together.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the Aversion, and that was about 2005, 2004?
Yeah, exactly. The Aversion started about, that time. And we lasted a couple years and then ended up calling it quits. But, I mean, there was partying going. It would either be me or somebody else's party screwing everything up. Okay. And it would be like,
now you're over 21, so
I mean,
alcohol's flowing.
Yeah, it's on by this point. Yeah, it's going. We're hanging out at the bars and
meeting a lot of the faces in Oakland that know how to have a good time.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And it can take it too far sometimes. So as the Aversion, you guys are playing shows?
Yeah, the Aversions did play shows. Not a lot of. I don't think we did any type of touring, but yeah, we played San Francisco, little warehouse parties. I'm pretty sure we played Burnt Ramen, Stork Club,
and that was punk.
Yeah, it was straight up 77 punk rock, kind of like X or Sex Pistols kind of stuff. It had a guy and a girl singer. I wish I had some. That stuff's probably online too. Yeah. Look it up. Look the Aversions up. And it's the Aversions that are from. There's one from California, and then there's one from the East Coast. We used to battle with them on MySpace back when MySpace was a thing.
Oh, there's two. The Aversion.
Yeah,
you didn't get the cease and desist order.
It was like that, but we were both kind of the same kind of music too. It was funny, but like, well, we had it first. No, fuck you. We had it first.
Yeah. Like, nobody wanted to give it up.
Yeah, no one gave it up. I think we broke up, and then they carried on for a little while longer. I don't even know if they're still in band anymore, but fuck those guys.
That's 10 plus years ago. And then so after the Aversion, you move into Tiny Power.
Yeah, Tiny Power was the second band that I played drums in, and then
that was another all kind of indie rock.
It was more like indie rock, like. I'm into like 50s and 77 and like pop punk and garage. Like I like that style.
Beach and
so I just start throwing down like garage beats over the top of, indie rock, alternative sort of songwriting. I didn't write the songs in that band, but yeah, I mean that was a cool thing. We did. You
said you had some bigger shows with Tiny Power.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
The singer was also in Super Booty.
Yeah, that's right. How'd you know that? No, our singer Natalie was in Super Booty, and so they occasionally would need an opening band, and so we would go open for them and play these like crazy.
What venues was that? Like Bimbo's?
Yeah, Bimbo's 365 in the Catalyst down in Santa Cruz. Like
sold out shows.
Yeah, straight up sold out shows. Crazy, backstage disco party.
And you guys are playing kind of surf indie music before this funk band hits the stage.
Yeah, exactly. And it was cool. People liked it. They were there to party, and they were probably super hammered and doing all whatever kind of disco party that people do. And they're like, "Cool, we're going to a disco party."
Yeah, you got a loud rock band with drums, and they can move to it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it worked. That must have been some fun shows.
Yeah, and you just play it off like you know what you're doing, and then
like you're supposed to be there.
Yeah, you can't see any of them either when you're playing those big venues. The lights are really bright, and it's just like a sea of black. You can see a few people in front, and you're just like, cool, all right.
Yeah. And you can hear yourself. You've always got good monitors at clubs like that. It's like, whoa, shoot, we actually sound okay.
What are these white towels for? Those are for me? Oh, okay.
And they give you the water there.
Wait, we get free water? Wow.
And so that was also on the drums. And did that record Tiny Power?
Yeah, we actually went to the city and we did an album at Tiny Telephone. We did we got to record. Album. Yeah, pretty fortunate, like pretty lucky that we were able to do that. I mean, it was super fun recording in a real studio and hearing. I mean, just the playbacks as soon as you get done tracking the song to listen to the playback, it's like it sounds better than anything I've ever recorded in my life, and it's not even mixed yet.
Yeah, just being in one of those nicer studios, totally like
absolutely.
that.
And Tiny Telephone is sick too. It's just like in a little back alley in San Francisco, like Potrero, off of Potrero, and little industrial area. And I mean, you would not know it's there. A lot of studios are like that. It's not like
just a door. You're walking down the street and you walk in, you're like, holy smokes.
Yeah, here we go.
Incredible. Yeah. What some of that stuff is. So how long does that band go on?
That band, probably about 4 or 5 years, somewhere in there.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So it had quite a run.
Yeah, it had quite a run, and so did I. And that's like when I really started falling off the deep end. Like that was probably the beginning of the really dark times.
Spiral.
Yeah, for me. Yeah, as far as like addiction and alcoholism and all those things. Yeah, pretty deep at that point. Not really realizing. I mean, I can see it now, but back then I was like,
you were just having a good time.
Full denial.
With the punches.
Yeah, full denial. Fucking cutting and running and whatever.
So is that what kind of ends Tiny Power?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it was just not working out anymore. I wasn't showing up on time. And I mean, I can only speak for myself as far as that. I know that I had a big part in that. So
yeah, you were adding to the troubles of the band.
Absolutely. I don't know what anybody else was doing, but yeah, for me, yeah.
You weren't at 100%.
I don't really remember what they were doing because I was too focused on myself. So
Tiny Power comes to an end, and then that's about 2010?
Well, a little bit before that. I'd say probably 2008. And then, I hope my numbers don't. Yeah, I mean, it's really fuzzy,
and
Ryan.
Super Booty, that doesn't still exist.
No, and they may play a show here and there.
But we could definitely find them online.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You can see a Super Booty at the Catalyst
video somewhere.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, man. Those guys had it going on. Like it was a pretty fun deal.
Show, exciting.
Absolutely,
time,
yeah.
And you guys were hanging backstage at these parties. And
yeah, I mean, you felt like you were in the 70s.
Yeah, you had arrived.
Absolutely, it was pretty cool.
So at that time, you're also running a screen printing shop out of Oakland?
Yeah. So one of the people from Tiny Power helped me get a business together. I was the screen printer. He had another side business, or he had a main business, and this T-shirt business was his side business. And I kind of like ran that into the ground as well because
But you were doing a lot of work at one time.
Yeah, I was doing a bunch of shirts for like bands and fashion. Yeah. There was a couple of T-shirt lines that we were doing. I started the business because I had a T-shirt line, like a clothing line that wasn't getting good service at another shop I was working at, and I kind of like said, hey, I'm about to quit this place too. I know why you don't like it. Let's go over here. And I have these ideals of like, oh, I'm going to do this big thing, and I'm going to bring you with me. And,
and it could have done well.
Yeah, it could have done well, except I wasn't prepared to be, I wasn't responsible at all, man. I was like, and I don't know. I mean, I've always had people behind me that believed in me. Like, I've never had a bad heart.
Yeah.
Like, not,
your ship was sailing the right way.
Yeah, I mean, like I had the right intentions. It's just my follow through wasn't there. I didn't know how to stick to it and commit myself and be responsible on a daily basis. So
how long did the screen printing shop last?
It lasted longer than I did. So I ended up bowing
Business
out.
Business continued.
Yeah, they continued. I bowed out of it and let those dudes. Another partner jumped in. Another buddy of ours jumped in, and they continued it for a while. But it's probably still actually a business, but it's not an open shop anymore or whatever.
That was Bonus Screen Print.
Yeah, exactly. It changed.
Did you pitch that name?
Yeah, I mean, because I used to run around saying bonus all the time because it was like an Oregon word that one of my buddies up in Oregon would say, bonus for anything. And so I just started saying it all the time. And so I had shirts that said bonus on them and, shit like that. Sorry, I hit the mic stand. Did you hear that?
Oh, that's all right. So same thing. The Tiny Power's in, Bonus Screen Print's coming undone.
Yeah, I mean, Bonus Screen Printing and Tiny Power were connected to each other. So when one ended, the other one pretty much ended too. And
at this time, you're going out 6 nights a week, or I mean,
yeah, like 8 nights a week, or not. I mean, it would be like nights leading into day, leading back into the night again, like for 3 or 4 days in a row. Absolutely, yeah, and just. I mean, the funny thing is that it leads you into a depression that the only thing that will fix it is putting more fucking poison back into it to feed it. It's a monster. So
yeah, to make you feel good again, you got to go and suck down another.
Yeah, exactly. Until you're just done, until you're done. And that's all there is to it. You're going to do it till you're finished. And then when you're finished, hopefully you don't it's not because you died, you know?
Yeah, you know, and some do go that way. So you're also rehearsing with those bands in Oakland?
Yeah, we had a space down at when Soundwave had the Auto Part building. It's now called something else.
The Oakland Music Complex.
Yeah,
now,
it's called OMC. That's right.
And that was Al, right?
Yeah, Al was running that place. Super cool dude.
Got along good with him.
Yeah, Al was awesome. He had he had Mac Dre's couch in the lounge, so the bands had a lounge where they could go kick it. Like and they sold guitar strings and picks and whatever, like random stuff that you would need. And I think they even sold beer at some point, but
I wouldn't doubt that.
But Al definitely had nothing to do with that part.
That was in the Auto Parts building?
Yeah, exactly.
That was like room 300 or something.
Exactly. One of those rooms on the corner had a hangout room. After Mac Dre died, the couch was still in his room. All his homies came and got all the stuff out of the room and cleared it out, but they didn't want to take that giant, beautiful, sectional, like black leather couch.
Really?
And so Al was like, well, shit, what am I going to do with this thing? Okay, I'll put it in the lounge. So we would just like sit on the couch like, we're sitting on Mac Dre's couch. This is kind of tight.
That's the other it's still Soundwave, the other studio, you know, that's right there by the freeway in Oakland.
Yeah, on Wood Street.
That actually, a long time ago, to tie in that story, they had a Christmas party, and it must have been 10 years ago, and my friend Rudy and his band were playing, and Mac Dre was the headliner that night.
Oh, really?
And he played 5 songs with this crew at that stage, and right in that main room in Soundwave.
Wow.
And they had free alcohol, and I mean, it was a wild party, yeah. And we didn't know too much of who he was at the time, and then, I mean, the next day, it was everywhere. You know, everybody knew Mac Dre after that. And yeah, just by chance, we were at a Christmas party, and he performed there at the Soundwave Studios.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
So if anybody was there, that was a good time. I remember that.
There's history there. Like, we got to rehearse in, like, AFI's room one time, and there's some pretty, like, big bands that used to play in that, in one of both of those studios.
Yeah, a ton of old history in both those studios.
Yeah, Digital Underground used to practice there.
See, all that old hip hop.
Yeah, it's tight.
So you're rehearsing at Soundwave when that is, and then what comes after Tiny Power? There is another band before. And that's Nostromo.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Nostromo was a short-lived. Like I have a buddy named Adam Ayer, and he's a really cool cartoonist, and he does like cool puppet shows and stuff. Super doom metal dude. He's the expert. I'm not the expert, but he and my buddy Stevel were playing some really cool sludgy stonery, like, you know, the closest thing that I knew at that time was like Fu Manchu. I knew that, you know, kind of, you know, Black Sabbath-y
and you
type
picked up
metal.
the bass in that band.
Yeah, I was like, hey, let me sit in with you guys. And Adam was like, oh man, I don't have time to be fucking around with people. And I'm like, dude, just let me fucking play a song with you guys. And then we played one song, and he goes, all right, bro, okay, you can fucking play. All right, let's just do this, okay? So then I joined that band.
You were in the band, just like that. Yeah.
It was like, okay, you can fucking actually play notes in time and fucking, okay, you get it.
And you guys played shows?
Yeah, we played a few shows. We played like Burnt Ramen, Stork Club, still around Oakland.
Okay,
in that area.
yeah, just always.
Sorry, Hazmat. Is that the ice cream truck?
That's the ice cream truck going by.
Yeah, we might have to take a break to get some ice cream, my brother. But anyways, yeah, so it was fun. I enjoyed playing that type of music. Got into a bunch of cool bands, Brain Oil, and got into like Electric Wizard, stuff that I never heard of. That's also very cool. That
just a whole nother side of the scene that's in Oakland. That's huge.
Yeah, big time. And I was super close-minded about the stuff that I would, you know, listen to. I listened to pretty much the stuff from the 90s forever. And that's pretty much the only
stuff you've been listening to since Oregon.
Yeah.
The Queers.
Like I was just joking about like Uncle Rico or whatever, you know. I mean, like, I'm Uncle Rico, like back in 94 at Gilman Street. You know, like that was like the whole, you know, that was our like childhood. That was our like glory days, the golden days or whatever for us.
Yeah. But that opened you up to a different side. And so that lasted a year or two?
I don't think it even lasted a year, man. I think it was like 6 months, and it was like one of the most beautiful things that I'd ever done. And it was like a lot of really beautiful things that like doesn't last forever. You know, You get in there and it's fucking magic.
It worked. The band ripped.
And I mean, it never even saw an album. one recording of it that's alive off the board at the Stork Club recording. Like Christian used to give you
the
tapes.
CD you'd get at the end of the show.
Yeah,
with a little $5.
With a little reverb halfway through the song. You're like, damn, this sounds fucking good, and then he'll throw some reverb on it right at the last second. You're like, fuck. Sorry, Christian, I love you, bro.
Oh yeah, shout out to those CDs. I think every band that's played there has went home with one.
Yeah.
So then after Nostromo, you start the Rockonigles.
Yeah, with my cousin JR, we were playing in the backyard. You know, I mean, we'd been playing together since little. He was little. He's like 10 years younger than me, so he was super little, and he started like me playing the blues, and you know, I would teach him little licks, and he would learn licks from other family members, and he really got into, you know, learning the guitar and singing, and we started screwing around at barbecues and stuff, and like all of a sudden we're like, hey man, let's try to write a song. Okay, well, we wrote a song and it sounded really good, and then we're like, okay, let's start a band.
Let's start rolling this.
Yeah.
Well, let's take another break there, I think, because we're getting into the Rockonigles, which is a family band, and that's going to kind of tie right into your new project, Dorothy Lane, that has just released an album. And we can kind of talk more about what you guys have coming up and also get into that new record. So we're going to be right back a little bit more with Lorin.
That
All right, what you just heard was Jonesboro Blues on the brand new Dorothy Lane album, Cut and Dry. Got my guest Lorin here in studio, and we're talking about the band The Rockonigles. So you guys are Oakland-based band again. You said it's got kind of a family tie in it.
Yeah, my cousin and I started it, and then we met up with our buddy Alexis. We met him at the Store Club while we were talking about music one night, and Alexis was there. And he was from the band, what band was he from? Dory Tourette and the Skirt Heads, which are a really cool old school East Bay band. And I had heard of them and saw Dory play like outside of Gilman before and stuff like that. I was like, oh, I love that band. So yeah, we brought Alexis in, and he was in welding class and met this girl Pally, and she played drums. So we went over to her house and jammed, and then
the band was formed just like that.
Yeah, we did it.
That was about 2010, 2011.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, right around that time.
And that band kind of takes off. You guys are once again you're playing the kind of indie rock.
That band was more kind of bluesy, kind of rock and roll, and we really liked doo-wop a lot. So there were a lot of like vocal harmonies and kind of doo-woppy 50s vocal harmonies.
A lot of singing stuff.
Yeah,
very cool.
But still, based in like a punk rock vein.
And then you guys are playing the Oakland circuit, Start Club.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oakland, playing, I think we played like El Rio. I mean, pretty much everything around there. Eli's and Uptown, places like that. And then we also went on tour one time. We went up to Seattle and back.
Did a couple shows out of town.
Yeah, exactly. For like 5-day tour type of deal.
And there is an album out, The Rockonigles, and that's Out of Pocket.
Yeah.
Okay. How many tracks are on that?
That has 13 songs.
Okay. And you were the primary songwriter in this band again?
JR and I both did the songs together. We both wrote most of the stuff together. So I would come with an idea, or he would come, and then we would, produce each other's ideas.
Yeah, basically. And then push it to formation of some sort.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, so that band's 2011 to about 2015. Now, in this time,
so probably like 2013.
Okay, so a couple years.
So, I'd say, probably like 2008-ish. There's a lot of overlap in the bands too, because I would start new bands and
as one fizzled out.
Yeah, exactly. Or I'd play in two bands at one time for a lot, or 3 or 4. Just depends.
It wasn't exactly cut and dry always. Where one ended, the next one started.
No, it was more out of pocket. So
things just kind of happened. So at this time, you're also spiraling with your partying, and it's becoming a big problem.
Yeah, absolutely. So like during this time, from about 2008 to 2009, I had a wake-up call, started going to some meetings and stuff, and I quit drinking. I put about a year together, a year and a half, somewhere in there. And for some reason, one day I just like, hey, let's get a beer. Okay, get a beer. And one beer turned into a whole 6-pack really quickly, like that first time.
Yeah.
Because that's not how I drink. I drink like fucking
hard and fast.
Yeah, I'm the dude that's up at like 4 a.m. when everybody's crashed out, and I'm
still pounding.
Like, okay, is there anything left in this thing here? Okay, all right, yeah.
Yeah, drinking the ones with the cigarette butts in them, right?
Oh shit, there's a cigarette butt in that one.
So anyways, you have a wake up call. You get a year of sobriety, and then you fall.
Well, I get about a year of sobriety. Met my wife. That we're still married today, thank God. But anyways,
when you were sober.
Yeah, I met my wife while I was sober. Imagine like got my shit together and, all of a sudden I meet like this perfect girl and
things are going well.
Super well. And it was on our...
She doesn't know the old side of you?
And absolutely
just in stories.
She knows stories and like I don't think she really believed it until she actually got to experience it. So she knows fully now. There's no question in her mind whether I should be drinking or not.
So, yeah, sure. But you fall off the wagon.
Yeah, fall off the wagon,
and then you even go harder. I mean, do you even escalate your partying? Or
it's fairly irregular. Like it's not normal drinking. It's pretty alcoholic style drinking, but
binging. Yeah,
we have a kid, and about 8 months into us having a kid, our kid passes away. So like she falls asleep and doesn't wake up, and then.
Devastating loss.
Absolutely, I mean, like something that no parent ever wants to go through.
You guys experienced it.
yeah, it really, it still sucks. It's okay. I mean, it's okay today, but yeah, it's still a shitty thing. It's not something that I just drop bombs. I mean, I feel like I'm dropping a bomb on you when I tell you that, you know.
Sure, yeah.
But at the same time, like,
well, I think
it is
you
what it
speak
is.
with it with great poise, but I mean, that had to be just.
I mean, we've processed it. We've had time to grieve and work through it, you know. I mean,
that was your first child.
Yeah. So,
wow.
I mean, at that point, the fact that I had been drinking a little bit and, that happened, and then it was on. It was a few days before St. Patty's Day, like coming up actually soon here. It'll be an anniversary. But anyways, it was a few days before St. Patty's Day. St. Patty's Day rolled around a couple days later, and everybody's just bringing bottles of Jameson. They knew what was up, and and
you
that
were
was
rolling
it for years. Yeah, it took about 4 years. Something like that, yeah, 4 years.
But you're dealing with the loss and
yeah,
the
dealing
pain
with the loss and still trying to play music and still trying to work and
figuring out this new life with your woman.
Yeah, exactly, and not doing well at any of it. Like just sucking ass at everything, trying, but it's not going anywhere because I'm in this crazy cycle that just doesn't end. So
you pull out of it though.
Yeah.
Good news is into the year 2014.
Yeah.
Is there another wake up call?
Yeah.
Or is it just it's time?
I mean, there was a wake up call of, Danielle, who's my wife. It was the day after Christmas, and she was just kind of looking at me and like, man, do you remember the way you were acting last night at my family's house?
You were drinking all through the holidays.
Just being ridiculous, I'm like, that's me. I'm super ridiculous without alcohol. So just add some of that and it's even worse. So yeah, I mean, I stopped and I white knuckled it for like close to like 40 or 50 days, something like that, before I actually like got some help because I couldn't take it anymore, like that's how it was. I wanted to like off myself because I didn't know how to live without being miserable and, like
just the like, common misery of life,
like I'm just dry.
Which it is sometimes. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just dry now and I'm not doing anything about this and I'm tired of fucking feeling,
So going to seek help was a lifesaver for you.
Yeah, big time. Like I looked at my phone, went to
how to deal with this kind of stuff.
Went to this secret society up the street from my house. It was like 5 minutes away, and it was starting in 15 minutes. And I judged the fuck out of this guy at this meeting for half of the meeting, and then someone brought me up to that same guy at the end. And said, "Okay, this guy's gonna help you out." And now he's like one of my best friends. But yeah, trippy life, man. I mean, and nothing's perfect, but I'll tell you what, like not having to live in that like misery and having
that routine, that cycle,
and having a different perception of like my daughter's death and just
easier to manage and cope.
I mean, I used to regret all that stupid shit that I did back in the day, and now it's to the point where all of that stuff is an asset, and I help other people too. So that's what I get to do now is like help other people, and I get more fucking rock and roll done these days.
Oh yeah,
I'm so much more efficient,
That's
like
where we're
I can wake up,
yeah.
I can show up on time, I can get this stuff done.
So you got a couple years now.
Yeah, a few years, and it's going good. Like so the end of the Rockonigles, which my part in that was I was just getting fucked up all the time and screwing up. So after that whole. After the whole like thing of like, how about I stop drinking and see what I can do here? And Nick, who is my brother-in-law, we were also playing guitar at the Christmas parties and different things like that. And he's
hanging
super
out,
musical.
family guy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's my wife's brother. And so we started, doing our thing and we both had projects that we weren't super stoked on. We were like, man, we were just whining.
Going through the motions.
Yeah. We were like whining to each other about
the same stuff.
Yeah, about the same shit. And then we looked at each other one day like, man, what the fuck are we doing? Why don't we play music together? And so now it's like now it's like this whole dynamic of, I mean, he is a go-getter. He's just, before I felt like I was doing a lot of work, I was putting a lot of stuff together on my own, which I love doing it, so I don't mind doing it.
But you found yourself being the one guy in the band a lot of times.
Absolutely.
That was pushing every button.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't mean like a slave driver, and I don't mean to like sound like, oh, I'm the fucking only one doing anything, like a whiny bastard or whatever. But like, booking shows and making sure the CDs get out on time. What's the budget for the record going to be? Like, where are we going to stay when we get there? All the little details that go into being in a band.
Making things work, yeah.
I mean, you've been in a band before, right?
Sure, yeah, a long time.
Yeah.
I've been doing it a long time. But yeah, all that is, you do it because you love it.
Yeah.
And you do it first, I think, because nobody's going to do it for you.
Right.
But then it really is helpful when you have another guy in the room that's willing to do it with you.
Yeah, exactly.
And make a couple phone calls. And you learn what each other's best at, and you can kind of divide up the work, And hey, this guy can take care of the shows. This guy can, take care of the, the aesthetic of the product.
Yeah.
And maybe this guy can help with doing the T-shirts,
Yeah.
and break it up a little. And it helps out a lot. So at the end of the Rockonigles leads us to Dorothy Lane.
Yeah,
And that's when
exactly.
you and Nick start this band.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's about 2015? It's right after.
So yeah, I mean it's pretty soon after the Rockonigles stop. So my dates around that time are pretty fuzzy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd have to look in. Gmail's really cool because I can go in my Gmail and see when emails start going back and forth and stuff.
I have a lot of landmarks that I remember by what show we were playing around that time. It's like, oh well, that was February of 2012. Oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
and that's how you kind of remember different times.
Yeah.
But so Dorothy Lane, you guys start messing around. It's you and Nick, and then who else do you pick up in the band at that time?
So I live in Martinez, and in Martinez, they have a Facebook page called Martinez Rants and Raves, and it's this really silly page where a lot of times people are talking shit about, oh, look at this guy, he cut me off today, and they posted
a picture of his license plate.
Yeah, exactly. It's something like that. So I just thought it'd be funny, like I wrote Rave Martinez band seeks drummer, we're trying to find somebody. We can't find anybody. You guys know any drummers out there or whatever? And so somebody recommended Neil. And then we're okay.
Through this Facebook group, the Martinez Rants and Raves.
Yeah, we got a couple guys show up. It was it's like the Craigslist of Martinez,
And it worked.
If your dog gets lost, it's a great place.
Post them there.
Yeah, absolutely. You find your dog in a half an hour.
When I lived in Crockett, I was in the Crockett community page, and that was somebody parked in my parking spot. And you'd have a picture of someone's van. It's like, come on.
That's a public street. Get a life.
Yeah, what's going on here?
So most of the time, it's okay. Sometimes it's super ridiculous, and then other times like this, it's kind of silly. So, we get a couple of drummers respond, and then Neil was the second drummer that we tried out, and he was fucking awesome, and he knew what punk rock was, and
he fit the bill.
That's always a plus,
Yeah, he knew some of the bands you were referring to.
And I'm not trying to say oh, we're so punk or whatever, but that's where I come from. That's what I love. And so it's important to at least understand where that comes from. I mean, Dorothy Lane's music is much more like rock and roll, but
it's good to have those common roots is important, or at least, like you said, understand that existed, and not just pass it off as that's nothing,
Or even the ethics of punk rock are something that I really appreciate too. It's being there for each other and being part of a community, and we're not necessarily doing things to stab other people in the back or step onto them. I mean, there's just a really nice
camaraderie to it.
I mean, there should be, and I know with people like you there is, and I know people Tim, and I mean
trying to help out everyone and trying to let all the ships rise together.
Exactly,
and try and get everybody the most ears is kind of that's the ethics that I like of it.
Yeah,
and just having a place. I think that's what drew us all to it.
Yeah,
is having nowhere. And then finding this community of these misfits and going, oh shoot, this is somewhere for me.
It's like a bunch of dorks just like us. Sweet, that's
they want to try and help stuff out. So I think that is a great thing. So Dorothy Lane, you end up picking up Neil.
Pick up Neil, and
then you start writing songs right away. I mean, there's a couple recordings that our listeners can find on Bandcamp.
Yeah, there's Bandcamp and Spotify. There's some recordings there too. So Nick and I just started writing songs, and then we brought Neil in, started playing some of them with Neil, and Neil knew. We had a couple of different bass players, but Neil brought in one of the bass players, and I brought in another bass player, just another friend, and eventually our other brother-in-law, future brother-in-law. Well, I don't know. I mean, I may be getting ahead right now.
But your current bass player is...
Yeah, our current bass player is also a brother-in-law. They're getting married in 2019.
So it is quite a family band.
Big time. And Neil's one of our brothers too, so it's kind of a trip.
Yeah, super cool though.
Our Sunday practice is Nick's kids and my kids all running around, and Tony's fiance is my sister-in-law, so she's there with her nieces and nephews, like all
the
hanging
family's
out.
just hanging out. And
they
there's
hang out
music
on
going
Sunday
on
while
and-
we're playing music in the garage.
Yeah,
it's
that's
pretty
awesome.
Yeah.
So you guys are playing for a year or two, and then you decide to move back up into Oregon, though.
Yeah, I just kind of get a little jaded on the Bay Area. It's getting crowded. It's getting expensive. It's like .com era number 2.
Sure.
You know, things go through the roof, and you know, like we were like, fuck it, let's go. I mean, our first plan was just to like move to the country up in Oregon, like move kind of back where
Back to the big forest.
Exactly.
100
And,
acres.
You know, I wanted to get out of it the whole time, and then now at my age now, I'm like, that'd be nice to live near a
Yeah, as
river
you
in
get
the
older.
woods. And
Sure, yeah.
grow my own food.
Nobody
and-
around.
yeah, no one to bug me, and it's cheap. But the thing about doing that is it's I don't have a bunch of money. I can't just go up there and like retire with my nest egg like a lot of people can. Like,
Sure.
I have to.
You've got to have work.
I got to have work, and that's one thing that people don't understand is, I mean, at least for my trade, I'm a painter, like with a brush and a roller type painter. And
Yeah. You roll up there and there's not enough work, or not what you were hoping to find, or maybe the pay is different, or
the pay is about half.
Yeah,
And,
wow.
Yeah, and
so you get up there.
yeah,
You moved to Portland?
Yeah, we ended up moving to Portland because there was more work in Portland than there was like in the Coos Bay area. So we ended up going to Portland. I was in the painters union up there. Started working there, and I had a decent amount of work for about a year. And but it wasn't really, wasn't paying the bills. We were just
And when you head up there,
it was costing us a lot of money to live there. So
yeah,
and Portland's not a cheap place to live either. It's like a little mini Bay Area, so it's not.
it's just as expensive.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of, it was, I don't want to call it a screw up, but my idea of it was different than what it turned out to be, which is fine. And,
In hindsight, it's always easy to
learned
look
from
at,
it.
right?
We learned from it,
So you come back to the Bay.
Yeah, come
and
back
then
to the
Dorothy
Bay.
Lane gets rolling.
Yeah, Nick hears that we're moving back. He's like, "Okay, bro, we're gonna do this right when you get back, right?" And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, let's do it." So we get rolling again. Our brother-in-law Tony is like sitting with us while we're camping, and I think that's when the decision was made. I'm not sure, but
So you want to be in this band you're in?
yeah, it was like he was there and he's playing guitar, and I'm like, man, he can sing too, and he'd never played bass before, but he played guitar, and he was doing okay on the guitar. And it's more of like, sometimes if somebody has the energy, then it doesn't matter they have to have a musical ear first of all, right?
Sure.
But if their heart is there and they can feel the music and they're like down in their soul, that's much different than
It's more important than having the 20-year vet.
Yeah, 20-year vet that can play
That's jaded,
crazy
yeah.
arpeggios or something like that. I don't give
Yeah.
a shit about your arpeggios. Like, I'm more care about like, can you be like in the pocket and like look me in the eye and we can feel the same shit
And
at
know
the
what's
same
happening,
time.
yeah.
And like get the goosebumps and like boom, okay, we're doing this. So
Yeah.
and like with him,
Yeah, and having someone that's driven or someone that's excited about being in the band is so important. You know?
I mean, this dude went away for 2 weeks and came back and listened to all of our material. Came back, had a band practice with us, and
Could play it all.
I mean, he was like a good 80% of everything. I mean, there were some dropped notes on that first practice. Absolutely. I mean, I even have dropped notes sometimes still too. So, I mean, whatever. But for him to come in, I could tell he was working really, really hard to get that. Or he's just super fucking talented. One or the other. I don't care. Like, it's all good.
Yeah, you just listen to it on the way over to practice.
I mean, the dude
right?
jumped in and just got it, and he's in our family too. So,
It works out.
yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's a beautiful thing, and it was just like one of those like lucky blessings that happened. Like Tony's good people. Love you, Tony.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see you guys. You got the new record out, Cut and Dry. That was just released this year.
Yeah, we recorded that ourselves.
It's
We just
all-
put it out a couple weeks ago, or about, I don't even know, a month ago or
And
so.
you can catch it on Spotify, on Bandcamp.
Yeah, all
It's
those
all
things.
the regular places.
Yeah, you might find it on, it's on iTunes. It's all the normal places. We just do the thing where we pay someone to put it on all those things for us.
Yeah, that makes
It's pretty
it easy
cheap these days. It's not that big of a deal.
a lot different, yeah. So coming up, you guys got a show here this month at the Red Hat. That's with our friends United Defiance, Lucky Egypts. That's going to be the 16th.
Yeah, I guess so. You have the date written down?
I've got stuff written down
okay,
here.
You're awesome, dude, because I totally forgot to write that date down. So, yeah, come on the 16th
March
to the
16th,
Red Hat.
the Red Hat, and you've got Greasy Rich opening that show. Who's another friend of ours. He was in the band The Nightshades, I think.
Oh, really?
Ago.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't checked him out yet. So, I mean, the funny thing is I probably know the dude. I just don't know him by his name.
Yeah, so that'll be a great show. And then it looked like you guys have a gig out in Sacramento. Late April at Old Ironsides.
Yeah.
So you guys can catch Dorothy Lane coming to your town soon. The new record, it's out. I like it. I think you guys are going in a great direction.
Yeah, we're
excited to see what's coming up, you know, and see what's next. I think, locking in the members you have now is kind of seems like it feels right now. I haven't seen you guys play, and I'm like, oh shoot. Seeing some videos and seeing you guys, I'm like, wow, this might actually take off. Like these guys, and you guys got the drive, and you got songs, Yeah,
I mean, it's been a blast. And the thing is we're not like, we push it pretty hard, but it's not like we're doing it without expectations. Our main expectation is to like show up, do the best that we can, and just like have fun.
Yeah, have a good time.
It's not about, okay, we have this certain thing that we need to do. I mean, yeah, we have goals, but at the same time, it's not this, I don't know. I just pushed so hard in bands and just felt the drag, and I don't feel the drag, right now.
Isn't that a nice feeling?
Yeah, it is. Like the drag is like stupid shit like, oh fuck, we're gonna be 5 minutes late to band practice, let's hurry the fuck up and get out of here.
Yeah, if that's your biggest trouble, that's not a big deal.
I mean, everybody shows up on time and works
and everyone's
hard
having fun doing it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's
awesome. What else is coming up? Do you guys got more songs? You guys writing?
Yeah, we're writing like crazy right now. We booked a bunch of shows, and we're hoping to record again. I mean, it's funny, like you put out a record, you already have a bunch of new songs like in the mix already. Yeah. That's kind of how it happens. By the time this stuff comes out, and then you're already you've
got new stuff ready to roll, and that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, we have a lot of songs we're trying to learn right now. Like Nick and I have a lot of ideas, so it's like we're trying to thin down like 50 ideas into 10
good
10 songs. Yeah, exactly. So
and bring that all together. And then you said you're hoping to get into New Tone Studios sometime this year.
Yeah, we're actually talking to those guys already and trying to nail down
great guys
some dates.
over there, Scott, and I think you'll have a good time. And I think it'd be a good home for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of friends record there, and they always put out really nice stuff. So
please check out New Tone Studios. Also
Absolutely.
check out Dorothy Lane, Cut and Dry.
Yep.
I think it's a good record. I think our listeners will enjoy it. Anything else, man? It seems like you've had quite a journey, 20, 25 years playing music, all over California, all over Oregon.
You too, man. I've been seeing you around. I remember seeing Ryan down at Gilman Street passing out Civil War. You had the Civil War Rust CDRs, passing those out for free.
Yeah, probably about 10 years ago.
Yeah, you were down there pimping your stuff, dude. I remember that. It's
always,
pretty awesome.
Man. You always got to hustle, Hopefully someone will find it and listen to it,
Yeah, stay grinding,
that's
man.
That's kind of the dream. Any last words for our listeners?
Just thank you for listening and come see us play. And
right on. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having us, man.
Right on, dude. My pleasure. Thank you for sharing your story. I think it's touching in a sense, and also it's great to see you, where you're at now, being sober and taking care of business.
Yeah, it's not a bad place to be at all. It's good, man. Just,
Yeah, I think only good will come from it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to the future we look. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to 80 West. This is episode 15. This is your host, Ryan, signing off. Thank you, guys.